It's late November, and figs are still ripening on the tree here in the desert, but the leaves are turning, and soon we'll be down. My friends, it has come to this. We mixed casein with slaked lime, rigid, very strong bond. We mixed casein with borax. Now we're going to take the borax casein recipe. I have a scale. Isn't this wonderful? You can get them for practically nothing at Walmart because we have to be very precise with our measurements so that we can have exactly twice as much soy protein, twice as much soy protein as borax. I want to see if you can do this with soy protein. We're going to make vegan casein. This is the old casein borax. It has divided. It's been mixed for a month. I don't even dare smell it. I need the jar. We're going to take it out and give it to the elements. Don't pour it down your drain. You'll be sorry about what happens to your drain. Here's still our little mortar and pestle so that we can grind up the borax and get a good fine powder. I checked whether or not you can use boric acid. No. I also found out that there's borax in Elmer's glue. When they were first formulating Elmer's glue, they started with casein glue, then substituted in whatever they are, things with C's and P's and plastics and stuff. And there is still borax in Elmer's glue. So we're going to go for coming out of casein glue, not moving in the plastic direction, but moving in the soy direction. We'll see how the soy protein settles itself into the water. It's very fine. One reason I got the scale was I couldn't even dream that it would weigh up properly. It's very light. So we need to make sure we've got the right weight. There's no way I could measure it with tablespoons and kid myself that I was transferring the notions correctly. 2-to-1. We're going to make vegan casein today. I ground up the borax cursorily, desultorily. I ground it up earnestly. This is 2.0, that is 4.0. These are our ingredients. Now we need to start guessing around at the water. I'm glad to have perfectly measured the wrong ingredients so that nothing will be assured ahead of time. I'm slowly but surely adding the soy protein isolate to about a little bit more than 1/8 a cup of water, but not quite 1/4 of a cup, and it's frothing up, which of course we don't care for. But we've seen before where the bubbles then disappeared after a while. I'm most concerned that we don't get lumps anybody who's ever made a cake from scratch, good grief. It looks to me like everything's mixing up nicely, but it also occurred to me that people eat this stuff. We could stick it in a blender, but who knows what you'll get then, and besides, this is so medieval. So we're adding the soy protein to the water. It's pretty thick. I'm going to put a little bit more water in here before we put the borax in. I don't want it to completely clump up, but we're keeping to our schedule of keeping everything smooth. Remember how the casein would slake and then it would get really, really thick? The soy protein is doing the same thing here. Let's give it a little bit more so it stays good and fluid. And then we'll put the borax in. This is so fun. You have no idea how long I have wanted to try this. It's really been a while. Okay, here comes the borax. Equal caution. Keeping in mind that the borax is naturally antibacterial. though. Well, we'll see what happens with the soy. It's not, you know how glassy cheese gets when it goes bad? That's that beautiful clear aspect of casein that we like so much. I've never seen tofu that got that glassy. Like, it's nearing Thanksgiving. This is like tofurkey or something that we're making here. We shall see what this develops into. Now, there's also the aspect of heating that was done. It was heated to 100, not quite to 180 degrees for not quite 20 minutes. The casein was. Will this require that as well? Seems like we ought to stick to the actual recipe for casein before we start departing even more. I've been mashing the still warm soy mixture that came out of the 180 degree water bath, which is actually not very warm, sounds very warm. I'm going to mix some pigment with this. It doesn't have the gluey consistency that wonderful casein mixture did, but we'll see what it does when we let it dry. The only pigments I have are my fabulous, not Finnish, Icelandic ones. So please do good things. I've got to work this pigment into here. I can't pretend that just messing around with a bristle brush is going to actually get anything mixed. I didn't get lumps from the soy, but I did get lumps from the borax, which, as we found out, is sodium borate, Na2H 20 B4 17 something or other. People understand these. This is not transparent as we would like to see, but it is certainly a paste of stuff that could go on a board. I outlined a little, very small area as if we were putting a background to a vegetable icon on here with waterproof, or not waterproof, water-soluble pencil, watercolor pencil, in fact. When I got down here to the desert, I found the good ones. So let's see what happens when we put this on. This is not going to make a smooth wash. It's going to be thick. I also found some recipes for casein putting Damar varnish in and flatted oil so that you can work in, these are all George O'Hanlon's, so that you can work with impasto. That would be fun. Casein doesn't support it, but with the other ingredients, it sounds like it would. All right, let's put her on there. In order to get this on the board, I had to use a palette knife. If it looks like German chocolate cake, that's what it was like with the frosting putting it on. I have no idea if this will have glue characteristics. We're going to let this dry overnight and see how it feels. In the meantime, I'm going to wash everything up and put a lid on my jar of vegan casein. It's been overnight drying. It went on like frosting. And in the meantime, I've read up on how big and clunky, no offense, the soy molecule is and what it takes to denature it. I am finding that they recommend the typical use of lye, NAOH, which we won't be using in the studio. This was an attempt to, I think they call it denature the soy protein with borax. We'll see, but I think we're going to have late figs on it with some of the leaves already turned yellow. It's a very small square in the middle of the page, and we can put our figs with yellow leaves going out. We'll see what we find. It's the end of November and the fig leaves are turning. Few brown spots. There's a reason they were used biblically. They're very large. Oh, here's one. Just starting to turn. There you go. Now we're beginning. Then pretty soon they've curled up and they'll be falling down when they get to be like this. But there are still figs on the tree, some that will be quite good. They won't be as good, of course, as the summer figs where you're fighting off the wasps and the creatures and wishing for more friends to help you pick them. But still, there'll be some that are quite good end of November. Well, the question is, what color are figs? The background color that's showing through here, this red, is absolutely on my panel already. I need white where the sun is striking it. I need a very, very dark color where it's in shadow. Ideally, the red should show through, and there are striations coming out from the center where the flower was originally. So the question is, what color are figs? These are winter figs. These will never ripen. Here's one partially, just a tiny bit showing through in the sun, and here's one that will probably still ripen. I've got to get these painted. The kids are going to come and pick them and eat them. Well, this is the latest. I'm trying to see if I can't just paint something. Look at it and paint it. I don't have the patience at this moment to draw this out with great deliberation. This is going to be Figs R Us. This is burnt umber. Ooh, I lost my edge there. The fig is just a little bit octagonal almost. I have to mix some more of this. Burnt umber mixed with... Okay, now let's be sure to get our shape, because we don't know what's going to happen when we varnish. All kinds of stuff will show up, so we need to paint true to the shape. Okay, we're coming around. We're going to get just some edges down here where it's poking through, always going towards the center, because it has ribs. Okay, here's a long one. We're coming into shadow around the edge here. And then we have a big stripe of shadow. Wow, I don't have enough paint, but I love the color. I love the color. This meets right here and scratches down to here. Okay, there's the amount of the fig that is in shadow. We're just going to make it shadow, but we'll keep our strokes going the right way in case something pokes through in the varnishing. Okay. Here we go. Well, I've given it a bit of a try here, but I need to get the red to show. Let's see if we can pull it out with a knife. Ooh. I'm getting the white first. Let's get that red to come out. I don't want to get too much of it. I put the white on, and it got way too white immediately. See if we can get a little bit of red peeking through. We'll see how sturdy this soy is. This is soy. Ooh, I like that. Don't overdo it. A little bit more down here. Can I even see that? Oh! All the way through. Let's try right here. This is just a little bit of sunshine peeking through here. Let's get the red to show. But you can see more of the red. Even here, help us get the shape by carving it in. Okay, what about this one? This one goes this way. Okay, we got an airplane helping us out here too. We get down just nice down to that red. Help this look a little bit more lifelike. I'm completely out to lunch with my shapes as always, but we're trying to figure out how to get the figs that will never ripen, because that is the real nature of winter figs, is that you're only going to get some of them. So let's see if we can bring this around here. And I'm trying to put this on thick too. This is Terra Verte and Naples yellow. Of course, I got a bunch of the Naples yellow all over my hands Naples yellow contains lead. Just saying. We're going to take out a bunch of this and come around this way. These are little ones, they're never going to ripen. We should have put the eye in there first. Let's put the eye in. There we go. And we can move out from there. And then we'll give it a bunch of water to smooth it out a little bit so that you have the notion of the gentle gradations that you get with vegetables. Need more, need more. I'm at the end of my Latin, as they say in German. Every single container is full of something. I'm going to have to quit here in a minute, but I was loath to undertake something so difficult, and then I thought, man, those figs, I want to honor them. They're such good food. A lot of people don't eat them. It makes me sad, because in the summer here in the desert, boy, there isn't really much coming out of the ground for you to eat, and figs are just a tremendous source of vitamins. Okay, well, let's put some water to it and see if we can cause it to look natural. Okay, it's back to the knife. I've got a fig here that has some, it's already starting to turn. It probably won't ever ripen. This actually has a little bit of red here too, but I put too much yellow around the edge, and I'm stuck here trying to loosen this. I'm going to have to actually, whoops, now I'm down to the fig below it. Oh, guys, never mind, that didn't work. Making a mess. Remember, casein is quick drying. This is me really struggling here. I'm not at home doing realism, you know that. Let's quit struggling. Let's have a good time. Let's let the painting gods paint this for us and quit worrying about whether or not it's beautiful, and just give them a chance to shine. How's that for a plan? You know what? I need something a little bit lighter over there too. Look how this is. I think we're going to have to add some white. Look how this is shining here. Back to the drawing board. What color have I got on here? Well, the little tip worked. This one you can't see. You can see where it's meeting at the bottom down here. What this is lacking is what I saw once, just to my supreme delight, at a show for John Singer Sargent, and it wasn't portraits, it was landscapes and still lifes. And there was one, however, that was a complete abstract. It was in the corner, and it was like people describe the going to the the Vermeer show in New York. You know, oh my God, we were shoved through. I did that with Tutankhamun too. We were shoved through. It was so horrible. And here was this one in the corner that wasn't even realistic. It was an abstract. And then just as I was leaving the show, in line, of course, you had no option of when you left the show, I looked back at it and could see it in the far corner, and it was like a photo of brilliantly lit gourds under their leaves, each area perfectly defined, boom, with razor-sharp, knife-like edges. That's what we're lacking here. If you look at our picture, we have very strong edges between where the sun hits and doesn't hit, but by the time I'm done mumping around here, we lose those edges. I guess this one isn't bad. You know what? We got what we got. These are the figs. We'll put the leaves in next. Okay, we're making it up. This is way too hard. We're just going to have to put something on here that could be what God had in mind. Would love to see these leaves done by a scientific illustrator. Oh my God, they would be so fabulous. But this is like, oh, good grief. We'll be at this forever. And mixing something that looks like yellow that has darkened. I had to put in, where are you? Raw umber. No, raw sienna. What am I saying? Raw sienna. To get a little bit of that red. But of course I've got a lot of red coming through. So we're just going to do... But when the leaves get closer in, they're a much... Oh God, they're such a beautiful greenish yellow. How can you live without that in your life? I think I went way out of bounds here. And I got too much paint on my brush when I was trying to be... What does a fig leaf really look like that's turning colors? Completely wrong. Okay, now let's see if we can get some of the color under here. Afraid it's going to look like... Oh, God. With me in charge, it all ends up looking like charred. Okay. So I put in some concepts here going around the edge, and now we're coming in just to get them to match this in tone, because this is so very, very light, and when we get something that's got that much oomph to it, then we'll carve around on it a little bit and see if we can get something similar, because see if this thing will focus in. Focus, 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 focus. Regardless of the shape, which is not fig at all, there's some very interesting texture here that I would love to match up a little bit so that the painting matches within itself. So we're just doodling around here, trying to bring up some concepts of leaves. The trick with fig leaves is they're huge, so don't make any wimpy ones. I think the leaves are pretty balanced in color. The first one that was supposed to be going this way that ended up going this way is still the most defined. I might dink around a little bit. These look a little bit white to me. They still don't have enough yellow on them. But we'll keep stupsing around and scraping and see what we can do. But I think this is just about it. And what carries it, of course, is this texture right here. It really looks like a fig. Amazing.